Morning Year 7. So what we're going to do today is we are going to illustrate these eyes, but we're going to do it step by step. So I'm going to show you this video to help you. So at any point, if you want to pause the video to then go to the next step, that is absolutely fine. I want you to do this in your own time. Now we're going to work on this probably for the next minimum 2 lessons, because if to do this well, we do need to actually put quite a lot of time into it and keep coming back to it. So the first step we're going to do is look at whereabouts the nose and the eyes are placed. Now, so many people do illustrate the eyes, the corner of the eyes, right next to the nose. Now, when we are illustrating this, is what we're going to do is we're going to take the nose and we're going to measure it with our fingers. It's the easiest way to do it. So we've got 2 finger widths will be the width of our nose, and if you can see here, 1 index finger is the width between the nose, the edge of the nose, and the corner of the eye. All right, so don't be afraid just to use your hands for that measuring technique. So what I'm going to do, I've done a little bit already, is I've taken the nose area and I've gone into the middle of the page, and all I've done is simply just mark off the thickness of that nose and the bridge of the nose. Now, I've just sketched this really, really lightly. Now, as you can see from this study, the nose doesn't go all the way down. Okay, the artist is actually using lots and lots of different mark making to illustrate that shadow. So please don't draw a line going all the way down. You are simply just illustrating the curve of the nose to start with. Now I'm hardly touching my paper, and that way if we do make a mistake, it's a lot easier to rub it out. Now going back, I'm going to look at the corners of the eyes. So the corner of the eyes between the nose and the eye is 1 index finger in width. So I'm going to take my index finger and I'm going to just make a small little dot there and a small dot on this side, okay? Just to show that this area is the gap between the eyes and the nose. Now, going back to the eye study, the eyes, the top of your eyes are like rainbows, all right? Now the bottom of your eyes are they've got a much softer curve, a lot softer, and you've got a thickness here, which is the eyelid, which is basically the bottom of the eyelid, okay? Now also with the pupil or the iris that is illustrated here, okay, that you can't, it's not a full circle, you don't want them to look startled, okay? So first of all, we're just simply going to draw the top of the eye. So we want it to look pretty much like a rainbow. So if we go to this area, I've marked off where those eyes are. I'm going to illustrate that top eye, top of the eye. And then underneath, it's almost like a tiny, tiny little bump that shows the corner of the eye, and then a much softer curve. Now, some people tend to draw them like fish, like fake fish. We don't want that, okay? Again, I'm just doing this really lightly because what we don't want to see is a big harsh line that you can't rub out. So if we just do really, really soft lines, that will make it a lot easier. Now here, where the top eyelid goes over the corner of your eye, there is a slight overlap, okay? This part, I'm just going to create that white area But again, I'm hardly touching my paper. There's a thicker line just at the top to show edge of the eyelid. Now again, the iris, you can see here, it does show a gap between the bottom of the eye and the edge of the iris, okay? But at the top, you can't see the curve of the eye. So we need to illustrate that again, looking really carefully. And that's the one thing that you are going to be spending a lot of time doing, is really, really looking. Another word for that would be observing. So to be a great artist, you really need to make these observations and really look at what you are drawing, or as we like to say, illustrating. Okay, so now I'm now going to draw a tiny pupil. But I'm going to leave a little gap, almost like a cutout, because on this area here, okay, it's like this is the reflection that everybody, you can see where the light reflects against the pupil. So we need to show that to make it look three-dimensional. We leave that bit out, so it's almost like a little cutout area. Just for now, okay? That's all I want you to illustrate on this section. And then I'm going to ask you to go back over to this area and illustrate on this side as well, making sure. Now the left one, I always find the left one a lot trickier, to be honest. Now, this is a difficult task that we've set you, but it can be the most rewarding as well, because it's so difficult. And don't worry too much if the left eye looks slightly different to the right eye, because when we look at this study, they are actually two different shapes. This one is slightly more closed than the other one, okay? Again, the top of the eye, you can't actually see it, so it's never a full circle. And that will stop it from looking quite so startled. Now, mine does need to come down a little bit more, but by using these tiny marks, that will enable that to just become a little bit bigger without me having to use my rubber.